Okay, so now I want you to think of one thing. Is the wind a risk control measurement or an opportunity finder? Okay, this is an important question to think about. And and whatever answer you might choose right now, hold on to that answer, whether it's risk control or a opportunity finder. Because what I'm about to show you now, you'll be able to answer that question automatically, and then you can validate if what you are thinking was correct or incorrect. Okay? So when we look at this, New Zealand across the board, this is on the daily chart. Across the board, it's saying one thing. New Zealand is strong here. Strong, 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 strong because it's inversed. Strong here, inversed. Strong here, also inversed. Now, everything is high, all the way high, starting to pull back, high up in the sky, down low. But Aussie New Zealand is in the pullback phase. Let's take a look at this one here, shall we? Aussie New Zealand. Okay, our job is to sell. Okay, now if we're saying our job is to sell, and we're still looking at this as, okay, well, assuming we're looking at this based on the daily 4 hours. Now maybe I should put that daily on the left side, 4 hours on the right side. Okay, so we're looking at this as the markets are coming down. You're like, okay, give me some pullback and I'll sell it. But then it pulls back so aggressively, we're like, well, it's pulling back aggressively. I don't know if I can sell it. That's the bottom of the range or whatever that might be. So it's not going to go down. It's going to go up forever. Right? I get that. That's the reason why we had this strong reaction. I also get that. However, the flow of the market says New Zealand is strong. That's your biggest boy. That's the big boss's direction. The direction is going for a sell on this. Your immediate movement says the sell is threatened a little bit because it's bouncing a bit and it's bouncing aggressively. That's okay. It's something similar to here. It's like, oh yeah, there's no way this thing is for a sell. Look at the way it bounced. It's the bottom of a range. This thing is gonna go up like a rocket, and down it comes crashing down. It's the same thing. You need the wind to tell you which direction. Now, here's a dilemma though. According to the group here, everything is high up in the sky except Aussie New Zealand that's going through a pullback phase. Now, so the question is that an opportunity for us to hit the sell or look for a sell? Or is that something that's too high risk? Because now, although it's in the same direction, what if it's coming from the Aussie? What if it's actually not correlating? It just happens to be in the same direction. See, that's a very important thing. That's why we need to use the wind as a risk control measure, not as an opportunity finder. Okay, your job is to always find an opportunity based on low risk. That is the name of the game. For any business, for any trading, for anything. You're looking for opportunities based on low risk. Okay? And then the high reward will automatically come in. They just come in automatically. That's the key. All right, now, when we look at this again, and we're seeing this as once it pulled back here, if we see this on the 4 hours now, it's pulling back, very aggressive, slows down a bit, pulls back, this time it starts to chop out, and then we get this boom, very strong V formation. Oh, it's got to be a sell right now. Pulls back, doesn't go in for a sell. These buyers were way too strong, or what we call the landmines, and they re-pushed it back up. He barely makes a higher high, comes right back in, jumps around in this area for a bit, which is supposed to be a support and resistance area once it breaks and makes a new high, but nothing happens there. And he falls further lower. Well, okay. And then it reacts off of here, leaves a big tail. Now what we're in is in a money spot. Because these guys who are looking at this as a probe are looking at it as, well, that's got to be a sell. While in the other hand, these guys are looking at this as a buy because, well, that's just a pullback. Look at that exhaustion candle with a big tail on the bottom. It must be a buy. Now, between this war, there's only one person who can pull you out, is the big boss, who's like, I've seen through enough of these nonsense fights. Here's some extra money, go for the sell. Okay? They're the only ones who can pull you out of this mess. Okay? That's why it's important to know your winds a bit ahead of time. Once you know your wind, you have to trust the wind. Every now and then you're going to be wrong, and that's okay. It's like business expense, right? Or marketing expense, or whatever you want to call it. But for the most of the times, the big boy will take care of you. They will take care of you. Imagine trying to sell in the face of that. Like, that's scary. Isn't that scary? But then they still pull you through. Imagine selling in the face of that, you know. It's scary, but they pull you through. Okay, so in this particular case, buyers go up a couple times, come down, landmine pushes it back up slowly, and then aggressively. It's like, sells are not here yet. Sellers come back, they fight it, and as they fight it, nothing happens. They come lower, they're trying to fight it again, and now we're like, money spot. Now we're into this fight where, let's see, here's another mini landmine here, where the big buyer came from. He bounced off of here, left a green exhaustion candle, but then the next candle was red and in the same price. It didn't do anything. Okay. And then the market starts crashing down, crashing down, crashing down, crashing down, and now he's in this area of seller's territory again. Now, can we get this clue from the group that we were looking at? Well, if everyone is massively saying New Zealand is strong, is eventually Aussie gonna also let go and let New Zealand be strong? Why was Aussie the only one that was causing this issue? Let's take a quick peek at Aussie group. Okay, I know this is sounding a little bit hard because there's so many steps required, but this steps is just going to become automatic. It's not even necessary all the time. It's just something you always want to do to stay on top of things. Okay, Aussie here, strong, neutral, I would say, because it's in a downtrend, but strong recently. Okay, this one is trying to break new lows, so strong there. So Aussie is strong and New Zealand is strong. That's why they're fighting. Now that they're fighting, how do I know Aussie is going to let go of the gas and let New Zealand take over? Okay, if Aussie and New Zealand are both strong, all the bells and whistles would just say, wow, you know, sorry, that's the horrible siren, but you know what I mean. Like, it's already telling you, don't touch this trade. But if you are looking to touch this trade, you can plan it. Now, how do you plan these kind of things? You watch out for your landmines or areas of resistance where Aussie might let go of the ball. Okay, across the board, where would Aussie let go of the ball? It is that time when New Zealand can actually play his game. Okay? Oops, sorry. Okay. So, it doesn't look like Aussie is going to let go of a ball at a nearest SNR area or something like that from the daily quite yet. So I still do believe that going for a sell on Aussie New Zealand might not be worth it. What looked like an opportunity, what was a nice pullback, because we were able to look at the entire New Zealand group and be like, it looks nice, it's a pullback, but how come no one else is doing it? That is like a risk radar. It's like a clue that the world is giving you saying, don't touch it. And now that we're here in the Aussie, we can see why Aussie is strong also. Now, if you've already done your correlation, you already know not to touch this. However, in case you didn't do it and you just did New Zealand, you can also pick up the clues from the wind that way. So you can do it naturally as well, or you can do it the way of being prepared and getting organized ahead of your trade. That's also a way to do it. Now, whichever way you choose to do it, it tells you to stay away from this. So if the answer to the question in the beginning is the wind is a risk control measure that eventually turns into an opportunity automatically. Okay? So If the risk control says you're free to go, well, it becomes an opportunity. Okay, but we look at it with the eyes of, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this. Things don't look right. Okay, so I want you to keep this in mind. We're going to go in a little bit deeper next week. Take all this information that you have. Look at all your current trades that you're doing. See if you have the wind behind you. Look at some of the recent trades that you have done and find out, when you were wrong or stuff like that. Find out, was it the wind that caused you a problem? Was it because you were going against the wind? Was it because your group wasn't with you? Or was it simply you were just looking at your big boy, but you had no idea that the correlation is completely against you? Keep these things in mind. Do a little bit of research this week, and then we'll take it from there next week, and we'll go a little bit more deeper. All right? Cheers. I'll see you guys in a week.